Welcome to the Don't Blame the Leads podcast, the second best podcast for any insurance agent out there. Today, we have a special invited guest. His name is Geoffrey Vaughn, the Dawn of Finance. Please, if you're watching this, give a round of applause. Welcome, Geoffrey.
Hello, welcome. How are you?
I'm great. And just so everybody knows, a little history about Geoffrey. He came to me when I think it was my second year on TikTok, and he'd come to me and he had a question, and I thought he was trolling. I really thought he was trolling. He comes to me and he says, "Hey, you seem like you've been in the business a long time. I've got like way too many appointments on my schedule. I can't get to all these people." I almost hung up on him. Because most of the time when people ask me questions, it's about what's a good IMO, how does the pay work, how do you become an agent. This man's coming to me asking me about appointments. 50 appointments a day?
It was stress.
Well, listen, I bet most people are stressed out about getting one appointment versus getting 50 a day. So I soon befriended Geoffrey. We've learned a lot from each other over the years, and he's one of the most prolific, I'd say, social media, like underground social media guys that I know. So I'm gonna be asking Geoffrey some questions, and hopefully this will be enlightening for anybody watching. But it's my pleasure, Geoffrey, to actually interview you on here today, by the way.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. So, okay. All right. Geoffrey, most insurance agents are stuck in the Stone Age, buying cold leads, bugging friends and family, hosting awkward seminars. Take all of us back to the moment you realize that you're done chasing people and you need the people to chase you. Tell me when you realized that. How did that go?
That had to be 2020. I want to say it was 2022 or 2022 specifically. I had tried everything. I mean, I was running an average of $900 plus a week at that point. I was buying B leads, doing everything I could. I could get deals done, but not at the level that was like sustainable or like for the amount of work that was being put in versus the result getting out. It wasn't exactly what I wanted to see. So I had actually moved 4 hours away from home to do insurance, moved into another house, and everybody in the house did insurance. And basically I was sitting there one day at the table and I'm doing dials and I'm like, yo, there's a better way to do this. And I started saying, I think I'm gonna do social media. And everybody kind of like laughed at me. My upline was like, that doesn't work. I'm like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure this will work because I'm looking at things. I'm like, this works in other areas. Let's just try it in the life insurance area. And that was the beginning. I played around with the name. I shot a couple videos outside, did a couple things, and people within the house were laughing at me, and people on the calls were laughing at me a little bit. But I was like, all right, just keep going. That started in about February, and I had my first big video happening about May. And that's when things really started to change for me. And I want to say it was like, I can go down to the day. I want to say it was like May 8th of 2022. That's when I realized that there was no going back because I think that was the first time I hit like 13K in production in less than 8 hours of work. So that was the first time it happened.
Times like that are like addicting because
Yes.
I remember the first time I made 15K, and it seems like pennies now, but that was a life-changing moment for me. I realized like I'm never, if I can help it, Lord willing, I'm never going back to doing 9 to 5. Like, cause sure it sucked and I felt like I got beat up a lot on the way to figuring out how to close. But I'm like, I just made 15K in a week.
Yes.
And all those people who laughed at me, just like they laughed at you,
Yep.
they made 15K last month.
Right. Not even last month. Not even last month.
And that's
It,
no shade, by the way. Anybody working
Right.
a traditional
Right.
job, a W-2. That's no shade. Like that's noble and that's good and it's steady and it's very safe. But like there's something very rewarding about knowing that you were struggling and you were really doubting your own position in the world and then you stuck to it and you did this yourself. It's like making something. So yeah, I feel it. I definitely feel it. So
Yeah.
okay, life insurance isn't exactly sexy. I always say that. It's
Yeah.
death, taxes, paperwork. When you posted your first few TikToks, did you feel silly? What was the internal dialogue before you decided to actually publish that first video? What was going through your head? What did you say to yourself?
I psyched myself out. I mean, really, it came from a place of desperation. At that point, it was brutal. I mean, I was coming off of like moving 4 or 5 hours away. The rent that was supposed to be there wasn't there. Like the rent got increased by like over $600. And I'm like, okay, like you told me one price over the phone. I get here something different. They were like, yeah, we just had to get you here. So that was a completely different thing. It was honestly out of necessity that I did it. At that point, I really didn't care what people thought of me because I was at rock bottom. I mean, I was eating ramen. I had ramen noodle cups with great value sausage patties, and that was the meal for the entire week. Was those two things together, and it was absolutely one of the worst but best times of my life possible. And it was out of pure necessity. I really didn't care what people thought. I didn't care what people what anybody I didn't care what my upline was saying at that point. I was just like, hey, look, I'm gonna just go see what happens. Good luck, everybody. And just went.
It was Bartello
Yep,
spaghetti for me. That was for me. That's what that was my ramen and whatever. It was I forgot the brand. It starts with a B, I think. It's got the red circle and a
yep.
blue package. It was that spaghetti for me. I was like, hot water, get some spaghetti sauce. I got meals.
Good luck, homie. Like, yeah, yeah. That's where it was. It was not a game. It was not a game. It was not a
Mm-mm.
game. And I was trying everything I could to possibly say in the actual industry. And I
Yeah,
moved. I moved. I gave up where I lived before. I gave up my apartment. I gave up cars, everything. I was like, all right, cool. We going. And luckily that was what started it, but it was a push. It was not easy.
yeah, I get that. I think, I feel like it's a test. I feel like the universe, God, whatever you believe in. I think that there's a test or something. It's like if whenever you go for something that's difficult or very rewarding and you start, it's
Yeah.
like the universe, everybody's it's gonna be something's gonna be obstacles are gonna get thrown at you heavy,
Yep.
especially if it's a big goal or a big thing. It's gonna be like, how bad do you want it? If you want it, you're gonna get punched in the face. Okay. You're gonna
Yep.
have to lose some stuff. You're gonna have to sacrifice some stuff. You're gonna have to work hard.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, I'm gonna take this from you.
And the price is the price.
And the price is the price. How
It ain't
bad
no
did you want it?
it ain't no discounts.
Ain't
It
no
ain't no discounts.
discounts. Forget your
Zero.
comfort zone. They it's ripping the blanket right off of you. So
That don't exist.
at all.
That don't exist.
All right. So walk us through the first video of yours that actually popped. Not just the
Ooh.
views, but the moment you realize, wait, this isn't just likes, this is revenue. What was that like?
I would say the first video that did that was my explanation of my father passing, and basically was talking about what the feeling was being 60-year-old dad passed away. Mom had to figure out the bills in that time frame, what we went through. My mom had a heart attack, like I want to say it was like a week or two after my dad died. So within that, like all of these different things are happening, and seeing the relief that came over my mom when the life insurance check came through, and she was actually able to take care of bills, take care of things. Like we went from total chaos to somewhat normalcy very quickly after that because she didn't have to worry about where the bills are going to go, where we're going to lose the car, all of these different things. So I would say that's the first video that really popped off. And then it was a succession of videos behind that that really started the momentum after that.
Nice. And I'm sorry for your loss. I remember because back then there wasn't a lot of us on TikTok. Like YouTube was dominated by Cody Askins, David Duford. Actually, those were the main two people on YouTube. Like
Still
there were,
today.
Yeah, even today, those two
Yeah,
are dominating YouTube. I mean, there's some other people who popped off. Some people in the, I call it the Cody sphere, kind of like the Rogan sphere. You know, you
yeah.
have the Life Insurance Academy. Those guys are really funny.
Oh
Those are
yeah, yeah,
cool
yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah.
That's part of the Cody sphere. But anyway, there weren't a lot of people on TikTok. There weren't a lot
Right.
of people on TikTok. And I remember when I started seeing more content from you, I was at like 3,000 likes or follows or something. And you were at like 1,000. And by the time I got to five, you jumped to like 20. And it was
Yeah,
like, it felt like overnight
yeah,
because I would
yeah.
go and anyone who liked or commented, I was like always on their page too. And I was trying to like and comment and be reciprocal. And I'm like, where did this 20K come from? What, what,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
So that was very impressive. It's harder now. It's harder
Yes,
now.
yes. The growth definitely. You have to put in to get the growth. You have to put in to get the growth.
Yeah.
But it has slowed down a little bit, but it's still effective. It's still effective. If you get out there, you put out content, there's still space. And that's what I don't think a lot of agents understand. It's like you see all the people, especially if you are into digesting insurance content specifically, you
Hmm.
will very quickly find out how many agents are going live, what's happening over here. But even in that pool of people that are actually doing it, it's still minuscule in comparison to the actual all of TikTok.
Yeah.
So that's the cool part about it is that you still need to go even if there are a lot of people in the water because there is space for you.
Yeah. A lot of times you have to make your lane. So I
That's it.
think we'll talk about that later because I do have some other questions.
Okay.
So I've watched your content. I've watched your content. You don't start with, "Hi, I'm Jeffrey.
No,
I'm
no,
Jeffrey. I'm a licensed
no,
agent."
no. That's why people that have it's so crazy. This might sound like a shot, but there's people that are making millions in the industry that can't get 100 followers on TikTok.
It
That's
happens.
just that's just a real concept. I see them all the time. I've actually been in conversations with them. Everything
Mhm.
thousand. They've had 1,000 followers for the past 2 years,
Well, then, so
and
what's your formula then? So, like, if you don't start with the like, "Hi, I'm Jeffrey. I'm a licensed
yeah,
agent." Like, if you don't start with that,
yes,
what's your formula like? Like for the first 3 seconds of video to stop people from scrolling and to
yeah.
engage, what do you do?
I would say the visual hook is the strongest one. The visual hook. A matter of fact, I was up at 3:30 this morning. I was texting the agent. I want to say she might be. I don't know. All I saw was an amazing amount of potential. But the issue was is that her content wasn't visually appealing enough to get the stop. And it's like, okay, your information is there. Your information is solid, but your hooks are all over the place and they don't exist in some places. So I was like scrolling through multiple of her videos. I'm like, there's nothing here to stop me except for my expert ear that hears good information. If I'm just a regular consumer, and that's another thing, is like you're going high level with content. Don't go high level. Why are you going high level with somebody that doesn't even understand the conversation? It's kind of like a master mechanic explaining why the piston rings fit the way they do in the cylinder. When you're just trying to figure out why my blinker won't cut off,
Right.
don't go high level too quickly. Bring it back, bring it down to a consumer level. And truthfully, if we're here to market, what is the point of the high level conversation except for in policy design with that person themselves? So
Mm.
that's what I would say.
So just for, I know what a hook is, but for anybody watching who doesn't know what a hook is, define what is a hook and what is a visual hook
A
so that
visual
people
hook,
understand.
okay, a visual hook is generally like an erratic movement. Sometimes you may shake the camera, sometimes you may do something like that to get the actual camera to move or yourself to move. And any type of movement. I was reading a study last night where our reptile brains from when we lived in caves and things like that, any type of erratic movement that is done around us as humans, we automatically track because it's unpredictable. So even if we want to scroll
Mm.
away from it, we can't because it is a perceived threat or a perceived unexpected thing within our brain. So that's what helps get the stop for our content to at least give us that 10, that 7 to 10 second window for us to actually be able to say what we need to say. So
Oh,
some
nice.
people use things like glass breaking. Some people use things like coffee. Some people use things like throwing the camera in the air and then catching it. But that's some of the visual hooks that are there.
Nice, nice. That's a really good way to look at it too. That's a really good thing that you said. There's a thing called neuro linguistic programming (NLP), and in there they taught people who use NLP and conversational hypnosis. They have a thing called a pattern interrupt, and that's exactly essentially what you're describing. You know, anything that breaks the flow of what you're already doing, that shifts your focus and concentration rapidly and grabs your attention, that interrupts your normal pattern. And that's normally where people will inject, like during a pattern interrupt, that's where like sometimes these NLP practitioners will inject like commands. So
Okay.
it's just yeah, that's it's what it reminded me of. That's crazy.
Okay.
All right, so you talk about things like borrowing against cash value and participating whole life. These are complex instruments. Okay.
Yes.
So, how do you strip away the jargon and explain a 50-page policy in a 45-second clip without compliant issues or without people attacking you, even though there's people who attack all of us on here, but you get
Right.
it.
I try to keep it as simple as possible and leave the variables or leave it open-ended in possibilities. I don't First thing, I don't position participating whole lives as places to put your retirement income or anything like that. That's not my flow. In that point, I try to make sure I let people know what the possibilities are with the policies,
Hmm.
what the capability of the policy is, especially with a whole life and term chassis put into one, where you have long term and short term gains across well, not gains, but you have long term and short term possibilities. And God forbid if anything did happen, we have the term sitting there for, I think you go max of 30 years with that. And that can take care for now through the mortgage. Then you have the whole life on the back end where it will reduce the price of your actual policy. And the cool thing is that on the whole life side, you will have that coverage for the rest of your life. And it also builds cash value that you can borrow against. Or what I like to do is use paid up additions to add extra insurance on the back end if the person doesn't need the actual finances or the actual
Yep.
money.
Okay. All right. Nice. Nice. So, in the finance niche, con-
Yes.
controversy sells. You've got the Dave Ramsey crowd, you've got the prime crowd, the people who hate
Yes.
permanent insurance. You also have the be your own bank crowd
Yes.
who just loves it. Do you intentionally lean into the conflict to drive engagement? Like, how do you handle a comment section when it turns into a war zone?
My I don't lean into it because it is unproductive. I do my own thing and I focus on social topics. And then I move through there instead of just, I don't argue with insurance agents in my comments at all in any perspective, in any way.
Hmm.
Just generally because a lot of them are uneducated. Like it's a lot of people out here that got a pamphlet real quick and they're out here roaring. And it's like, okay, that's weird. But on the other side of that, I really try to stick to things that people care about. Nobody cares about what insurance agents are arguing about when it comes to policies.
They don't.
Not a single soul. Agents do. Agents do.
Out, bro. Did we have? Was it you and I who had a conversation where we're like, "Who is this content even for?
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
is this content for? How is this
Right.
even benefiting the people having the conversation?"
It's not. It may be a good. Like I've seen some things that are like, okay, this might be good for recruiting, but the way that people are recruiting is now possibly getting. It might affect social media altogether, in the sense of legislation coming down.
Mhm.
I stay out of it. I stay out of it. You're not going to see me make response videos to people or anything like that. I try to live above reproach in that place. I try to keep things focused on my thing is I don't care if it's a term, whole life, whatever. The biggest thing is to make sure that we have that generational wealth impact. God forbid if anything does happen.
Mhm.
I try to keep my mission focused on the sense of community. And I really don't like to lean. I don't like leaning into other insurance agents unless they're talking about something that resonates with me. And it's never going to be about policy design. It may be about living benefits. Living benefits is a huge thing for me. particularly because my mom had breast cancer. And with that, I wasn't in the industry. Nobody had ever said anything to me about it before. And it really could have been something that changed our lives. The big conversation across the board now is like, hey, you might not get the full 400,000, you might only get 50,000 or 10,000. In the position that I was in, 10,000 would have changed my absolute life. Like,
Hmm.
for real, would have changed. But people don't take that into consideration. And that is the scary part about where content is going, because we have a lot of people that have high net worth individuals in their portfolio or in their book of business. And that seems to be the rule that they want to set as standard. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good philosophy. All right, so
No.
are you scripting everything word for word, or are you
No.
just are you so you're just so you're riffing, you're just off the top of your head?
Like Lil Wayne.
Okay. All right, so and do you find that high production value matters, or does raw and real sell better in the insurance space?
Raw and real. Raw and real. And yeah, and that's one thing that insurance agents are terrible at.
I'm gonna say I agree 100% because excuse me, I think it also depends on the platform too. So don't get
Oh
me
yeah.
wrong, like on TikTok specifically, I've
Yeah.
noticed that a lot of unpolished, you could be jogging. I've done it. I'll be walking, jogging, doing stuff. I'll make a video, bop bop, and it works whether I've scripted that video or not. But I've seen on YouTube where that polished look, Doug Massey, he's bigger on YouTube now. I did a podcast with him, his podcast, and his production quality is just insane.
Yeah.
And so is like Cody's has always been.
Yeah.
I mean,
Solid.
yeah, in the
Yeah.
beginning, it was what it was. But like on TikTok, yeah, I've noticed that. Even poor quality people, as far as like videos outside of insurance, people be in their car,
Yeah.
stains all on their shirt, just it stinks in that car, and they doing a 10-part series on something and it goes viral.
What you're saying is absolutely correct. Like, content goes by platform, or every piece of content changes by platform. You can't
Hmm.
put the same videos that you put on TikTok or Indeed, not Indeed. What's the
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn? It's not going to work. It's the same concept with YouTube and Instagram. Instagram is all about vanity.
Hmm.
100%, you have to have your stuff right in that area because of what the set tone of the app is. Whereas in TikTok is all about being original, all about being unedited,
Authentic.
authentic. All of these
Hmm.
different things really make up what TikTok is. And that's why it is a huge lead aggregate in that space. It really helps in that position, because one thing that drives sales is authenticity, not
Authenticity.
yeah,
Yeah.
authenticity
I got you.
drives drives authenticity drives sales. It's the same perspective as if you had somebody come to a car dealership, things like that. People be like, I like that guy. I feel
Hmm.
like he's a real person. And it's the same concept when it comes to TikTok, is because that is the set tone. You need to be real. I tell people, do not edit yourself. Don't be dumb though. Don't
Right.
get on doing some wild stuff and get your license taken away. Or like the latest fiasco on TikTok, some guy wrote a comment to a lady. Lady showed up at his house 4 hours later. And she drove like 3 or 4 hours and showed up. It might have been to his job or his house, one of the two.
I
Showed up
saw
at
that. He had
yeah,
made a racist comment or something.
yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah,
And she
yeah.
showed up. So it's like, hey, these things do have repercussions. So I'm not telling you to go out here if you wild at the mouth and just start saying stuff, but
There's
be
a lot of
yourself.
keyboard warriors, man.
100%.
Everybody tough online, man. It's so
Yes,
crazy.
it's people that would take a trip.
Yeah,
It's it's people that
yeah,
would take a trip. That's why I try to keep it copacetic. I try to keep it honest and fair. I don't lean into bullying people or anything like that. That's not going to be that will never be anything that I would tell anybody to do.
yeah. Straight up. That's very good advice too. And I as funny as that was that lady went and did that. A
Yeah,
part of me also felt like you don't know
you
the
set a tone
this.
that you don't know.
But I'm saying you know where he's at and
Yeah,
his all this other stuff about him, but you don't know him. If that
right.
dude was crazy,
Crazy. Yeah, yeah, that's a wild thing to
She
do just to
risking
run
her
up on somebody.
life.
Yes, yes.
Maybe not showing
But
up to his job, but it's like, okay, you're at my job. What would have stopped him from just taking that a step further? What would have stopped him from going like, oh yeah, you know what? Here, let me step outside. Let's step outside.
right,
I'll give you that apology out here by the car. I
yeah,
mean, you ain't gonna follow him to the car, but still, you know what I mean? Like, you know
right,
what? I'm at
right.
the job here. I'll apologize. Here, let me step outside. Or what if he
Yep,
had a gun up under the desk?
yep. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. And it's just I honestly run the same thing when it comes to insurance. I'm not going to write a policy that somebody want to find me over.
Yep, ain't
So
gonna work.
in that point, I try to make sure my policies are fair, they're amicable. If you compare them to other people's policies, they're going to stack up. Okay,
Hmm.
this guy wrote this fairly. So that's one thing that I do because I am the type of person that, hey, look, if I have a problem, I'm gonna come talk to you. I'm gonna at least come talk to you. And in that position, like as this world evolves, I think people need to take that in consideration on how they do content and
Hmm.
things like that because your online opinion has real world consequences.
That's that. Listen, all of y'all watching this, free speech is a thing. But
Yes.
free speech is not free consequence. You know,
No.
like you can say whatever you want to whoever you want, especially these days, but that does not mean that you're not going to get your face punched in or you're not going to have a problem or
Yes.
whatever. And that goes for anybody. I'm not This is
Oh
not a
yeah.
race thing. It's anybody. It's
Correct.
anybody. That's why I try not to grift. You know,
Yep.
not try. That's why I don't grift. That's
Yep.
why I'm like I stay in my lane. I want to help agents. That's
A big
cool.
no.
There's some people out here saying crazy racial stuff or
Yep.
talking about women and talking about men and talking about these weird stuff and
Yep.
like one guy is I'm convinced him and his people are like obsessed with me. Guys in my comments talk about, yeah, he'll never debate me. Yeah, because you say racial stuff and because you're disingenuous. You're
Yep.
disingenuous. You say bad things about companies, knowing that you got contracts with those companies. You say bad things about races of people, knowing that you're also a brown person. You say
Yep.
bad. You try to have women do weird stuff on lives. What do I have? What conversation can we have that would be
Productive.
advantageous? Yeah. What productive conversation could we have?
None. None.
Even though everybody who knows him is like, oh, he's a nice guy and he really doesn't mean that stuff. And behind the scenes, everybody's friends. And it's like
Public image is public image.
public image, yeah. And nah, you could be friends and all that other stuff. But if
Yep.
you got this guy in my comments and he's stirring the pot, he's talking stuff about people's appearance and
Yep.
ignoring context, it just uh-uh. Nah,
Yep.
I've got nothing positive.
To
I got
say.
nothing positive to say,
Yeah.
and there's no
I mean,
productive conversation that's gonna come out. I
that's
told
like
him in my comments I'm not doing it. Go ahead, sorry, bro. Go ahead, go ahead.
oh you good. That's like the toast lady. I don't know if you've seen the video about the toast lady. It was back when everybody was going through the WIC and food stamp crisis of 2025. Basically, the
Toast
lady
lady.
was sitting at a desk and she would eat a piece of toast. And she was like, if you where'd your food stamps? It was back in like September or October. I am very internet connected. Like I just don't see insurance content. I see content from all over the place and I see what's going to go viral. That
Hmm.
video, when I saw it, was at 5,000 views. And I'm like, she don't know what she just did. And basically, it was a smooth hook in the way that she did it, but she made the main focus of the question: why do you need more food stamps this month if you just got them last month? And she was like, you could have just rationed those for the month ahead. You don't need food stamps. Y'all are getting too much. And a lot of people took problem with that. So she lost
I
her
can
job.
imagine. Ooh.
She lost, yeah, she lost her job. So now you need the food stamps. That's that's crazy. Now you need the unemployment. That's wild. And she got a complete result off of her opinions. So when you do things online, I do I worry about people feeling so free on the internet to where it's going to damage large businesses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, look, your opinion matters. It trust me, it's going to come down the stream.
Yep.
You may not see it now, but as somebody that is chronically connected to the internet, that helps a lot of people with social media. You don't want to be on the other side of that ball because that all. a video never goes away.
It's
I
there forever.
still, yeah, I still get views on a video I do in 2022. If you go viral, it's over. Like if your name called, if you type my name today, videos for 2022 will come up.
Yeah.
And people have shared those videos, people have copied those videos, people have recordings of those videos. So when you're putting your opinion out, if you're on a live, if you're anywhere, think about that aspect before you say it, because it can be recorded and then played back multiple times a day, every day
And if you do something illegal, it can be used against you in
in court of
court.
law. Yeah.
People going to jail
What's that?
crazy.
Cardi B and oh, what's the lady name? I forgot. I forget. She sued a lady. She sued a lady for her internet opinions of her, and the lady had to move out of the country.
Oh, Tasha K?
Tasha K. I think it's Tasha K. Tasha K moved out of the country and everything else because well, she said to Cardi B because she didn't want to pay Cardi B.
There's
It's
wait, there's a Tasha,
it's Tasha. I think it's Tasha K.
but there's also a Tasha who does like a dating show. That's not the I know what you're talking about, the short-haired lady.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, but there's real world consequences, real world consequences. But let me get
100%.
back to you. Let me get back to you. So a lot of people get views and don't have any money, right? So walk us through the customer journey. Someone sees a video about tax-free retirement or whatever. They see a video, they click a link in your bio. What happens next? Like, how do you filter out the tire kickers, the people just looking, from real qualified people who are trying to get
Well,
coverage from you?
honestly, I think if the cool thing about people reaching out to you is you generally don't get tire kickers when you're not setting up an ad. Like
Mm,
I, it's a weird place for content. Content, of course, can have add value and or it can have lead production, but it's not viewed as a lead. It's viewed as information. How you take somebody down through the funnel of your content is going to depict how they actually get or when they actually get in contact with you. 90% of the people that actually get in contact with me, I get a policy. I'm just going to be honest. They really, I really don't have a lot of people say, ah, well, I might think about it. I've had maybe, I can honestly say, out of the thousands of leads that I've had, I've maybe had less than 30 people that were just like, hey, I just wanted to see what the pricing may possibly be. I've had people be
wow.
upset at the pricing, and that's where salesmanship come in.
True.
That's fine. But I haven't had people that are just like, oh, I just want to get a quick quote real quick because I don't set it in the position that that this is something that you may just might want to do. By the time you get done watching my videos, this is something that is emotionally connected, that has a outcome connected to it, and I've given you a solution to a problem that you've identified in your life. That's why you watch the 3 minute video because you realize that A, I have this problem, or you've resonated with this problem, and B, I need to figure it out. So that's how mine is set up. I
Got
don't
it.
really have a way of like, oh, like somebody feel kicking tires and somebody's getting a policy. If you get on my calendar, if you
You get the
sit on a
policy.
Zoom, you get a policy. Like that's the way I go through it. I don't I think that's sales process too. I'm not going to ask in the sale, hey, do you want a policy? No, we're just going to go for it.
So do you just put people straight on your calendar, or do you, like, let's say you respond to a comment. Do
Yes.
you talk to the person in the DMs, or do
Okay.
you move them directly to your calendar so you can have a conversation?
I let people choose the way that they want to do it. I generally will start a conversation in the comments and then move it to DMs, or I'll just send a thing like, "Hey, look, there's a link in my bio for a free consultation. Click it, schedule. I'll be more than glad to talk to you." And they do it that way. So it's two different lanes they go down. Most people just click on the link in my bio, schedule out, and we're good to go.
Nice, nice.
I've noticed that keeping it as quick and as short as possible absolutely helps with them following all the way through. That is one of the biggest things. Is I had a multi-step process that when you got on, you would give me your health information, take all of that stuff, would get what type of coverage you may be looking for, all of these different things that made my job a little bit easier.
Hmm.
But that I would say 2 to 3 minutes of information get it was enough time for them to be like, ah, I may want to do it. I may not want to do it because
Mm.
I have what's called heat mapping on my Calendly or on my what is it, MailChimp. So with heat mapping, basically I can see where you're clicking, how long you stay on it, and it'll actually time your entire progression through. So I can see sticking points
Mm.
on like, okay, they're getting stuck at this part, a lot of readings going on, and you can actually see one of the most heartbreaking things is seeing somebody go to schedule an appointment and then seeing them back out the page. It's like, no, you're right there. But
Just do it.
yeah, I'm sitting there like, no. But the cool part about it is that it does help you whittle down your funnel to make it more accurate or to make it easier for people to actually get in contact with you. You can figure out what's needed with stuff like heat mapping.
Nice, nice. That's actually, I didn't even know MailChimp did that. I ain't gonna lie
Yeah.
to you. Okay, so buying life insurance requires a massive amount of trust. You're asking somebody to commit to payments for 20 plus years. How do you bridge the gap from random guy on the internet to trusted advisor that I send my money to without meeting them in person?
content content and authenticity, like the person that they see on the screen is the person that will be sitting in front of them. I'm not going to change my attire a whole lot. I'm not going to move things. I'm not going to talk in a different cadence, different things like that. Like a lot of people have had the comment, you're the same guys on the videos. Yeah, I don't know how to be somebody else. I am terrible at masking. Like me trying to be somebody else it's going to look weird. So I'm just myself, and I try to make sure that people understand like this is who I am, and I try to
Nice.
make sure people are comfortable and understand they can get in contact with me that when they need to. And really, I don't even hate to say it this way. A lot of my sales also come with a lot of conversation. Like I sit
Mhm.
down and I talk to people. I don't try to just rush them through real quick, get them a policy, get them out the door. I talk to people. I listen to the stories about how their family didn't have life insurance with the previous death. I listen to the stories about how the grandma has a whole life on them, and they just want something a little bit extra. And I listen to the people, and I try to build a authentic connection. I don't give people some weird business number. They get my cell phone number,
Mm.
and sometimes you get calls. Sometimes I get calls at like 2, 3 in the morning, where somebody's in the hospital, and they're like, "Hey, look, we just want to make sure everything's okay, and like I want to make sure the policy is okay." All right, like that's fine. But I would much rather be there in an authentic way where they know they have somebody that they can trust rather than do things that make me a little bit more comfortable and end up breaking that relationship. Because I talk to a lot of my clients monthly, daily, weekly, things like that. So
That's that's very noble. That's very noble because I think that's also a thing that I see missing a lot with a lot of agents, especially on TikTok. The authenticity isn't there. I think a lot of companies and upline managers in this business, even like, there's a bunch of people that have come to me saying, "Well, I worked at this company and they wanted me to go on live every day and say this, this, and this, but I don't even understand." They said they don't even understand how to sell it,
yeah,
but they were given things to get on live and say, and
right.
their upline would push them to do this stuff, and they didn't like it, and I just can't stand. I can't stand it. I can't stand the level of the lack of
Social
authenticity. Yeah.
yeah, social media is like it is a good lead generator. It is
Hmm.
not a lead generator. Like that, like it's good at it when you're authentic. It's good at it when you care about the content. It's good at it when you're trying to help people. Like I tell people generally, if you go on here and you just, hey, I sell life insurance. You and your family need to get coverage today. Call me at 1-800. This is dumb. Obviously, you're not going to get people. Like that's not going to
Yeah.
work. This is not you doing ads.
Hmm.
Like you have to care about people. Matter of fact, I would say don't ask until you give. You give information and you give quality information and you answer questions that people have like correctly, authentic.
I got you.
That's where it keeps getting me authentically. But you also answer it with a little bit of enthusiasm with video responses to get people to understand that you're a human too.
Hmm.
That's when people will engage. This is seen across brands across the whole entire spectrum. It doesn't matter what brand it is. The more human the brand is, the better it performs. The more you look like a robot, the more corporate you look. Even when you're looking at the aspect, like one of my favorite corporate style content creators is the private jet guy. He basically sells private jets, and like he's doing 40 million, 80 million, $100 million deals. And he's just talking about like, hey, I honestly wouldn't do it this way because you're not getting this amount of fuel range when you're going to these places per week. That's not something that I think is
Mm,
advantageous for you. He's having the honest conversation. It's $1 million conversation, but he's shooting it at you like we're friends. And it's just digestible content that works. Whereas in a lot of insurance content, you smell like you sell. That's just honestly it. You smell like you sell. And that drives people away. It drives people away. Nobody wants to engage with it. And that's a lot of high level leaders within the industry have really started to get on social media, and you sell like you smell.
yeah,
I mean, you
yeah,
smell like you sell. And that's the
yeah.
hard part about
We call that we used to call that something breath. AP breath,
it.
sales
Commission break?
breath, commission breath. Thank you. My
Commission
bad.
break.
I couldn't think of the word. That's what we call it, commission breath. Commission
Yeah.
breath.
Yeah.
Um, but okay. So let's address the elephant in the room for financial creators. So like financial creators are under a microscope right now. How do you navigate the compliance nightmare? And have you ever had a video taken down or gotten a slap on the wrist for promising too much or any of that?
Nope. None of it. Because I don't. I
How
don't
do you
promise to.
navigate the compliance nightmares?
I navigate the compliance nightmares by being, how do I say this? I don't want to say the word vague, but it might be vague.
Mm,
In the sense of I try to give people as much information of possibility as possible, but without promises. In the sense, like I'm not going to promise you, hey, you're 34 years old, you're going to get $1 million in coverage for $62.85. That's why I don't show illustrations. Like I literally warned people years ago, don't show illustrate. Like, why are you showing illustrations with names, with policy numbers, with everything? And they were like, oh no, people came and attacked me, and I'm like, you didn't think this would come back? Like you don't even have to be smart to do that. But it is something that I honestly tell people that they really need to look out for. Do not use illustrations. Do not use carrier. You won't hear me say carriers' names. I've never done a video where I was like, oh, Forrester did this, Mutual Omaha does this, NLG is great at this. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And that's how I've stayed out of the compliance nightmare, because that information doesn't even matter. That sounds good to the person that knows, but it doesn't matter. Policy
mm,
information doesn't matter until we're actually sitting in front of the actual human being.
yep.
Like comparing term policies on a fully underwritten scale doesn't make sense to the average consumer. It
Yeah.
doesn't. And you really think that it does, but it doesn't. They want to know that, hey, will the coverage be there? Okay. How long is the process? All right. They want to know what the ease of the policy is. What does the policy do for them? What are the results? Like all of these different concepts. One of my most dangerous videos ever was a gentleman saying, yeah, I had living benefits to help me keep my house. That was one of my biggest videos ever, because it was a
And
five
and
second video.
and yet people will tell you that it wasn't real and it didn't really happen.
Yeah. Like the crazy thing is I was the one that hit them about living benefits altogether. I have recordings of the conversations that basically state I was the first one to tell you about living benefits. I'm like, wait, what is this living benefits? Oh, I'm going to go get educated on that. Like, okay. And then your education comes back a little off. Is there variables to anything? Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. But these concepts are there. And I don't sell off of the position of, hey, you're going to get $1 million tomorrow. Not going to do that.
So you
I'm
know
not going.
what? That goes into my next question too. I was gonna say there's a dark side to finance TikTok creators. They sell dreams that aren't mathematically possible.
Yep.
And I was gonna ask you, how do you ethically sell the potential of insurance products without misleading people about guarantees?
Well, a lot of it, once again, I handle the actual content creation in a vague position, meaning that I'm saying things like, "Hey, protect your family. God forbid if anything does happen, this money will be there for you God, if this does happen. When I'm actually in the policy construction through illustrations or anything like that, I go off of either hard numbers and I clearly define what the possibilities are. I do not sell the possibility. I'm not in there like, hey, look, if you put this in here, you're going to get $8 million in 20 years. Yeah, I'm not doing that. This is what you're going to get right here. This is the guarantee. You're going to get this. But with the flip side of that, if things do work out a certain way, if these percentages do work or anything like that, this is a possibility. But I literally say, I don't want you to focus on the possibility. When it comes to this, can you live with the guarantee? If you can live with the guarantee, we can shake hands. If you can't live with the guarantee and you're using this like a lottery ticket, we need to rethink some things here and maybe redo some construction. But that's the way that I look at it. I really don't promise the world. I promise generational wealth. God forbid if anything does happen. I promise a more equitable position in society with capital in your hand. That is
Hmm.
something that I really do look at and what my focus on insurance content is. I want my community. I don't try to go out and get everybody. I want my content, my information to go to my community so I can help people have the next step up. Like one of the things that really hit me in this industry in the general is how racist it was in the undertone. And in that point, even people within the brown community have shown to be racist in that position. And a lot of people only were giving out 20,000 to 50,000 what do they call final expense policies. And people didn't understand you can get 200, 300, 400, a million in coverage and not pay an arm and a leg to do it. So a
Hmm.
lot of people really didn't understand that. And that was something that really ticked me off very quickly when I started doing content because I started realizing like even through conversation that they are a lot of agents are getting away with highway robbery in my community. And I wanted to stop that.
It's I didn't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I because I've been in the business a long time. I've spoken to, and it's so fun, it's so crazy what people will reveal to you in whatever situation. I've
Yep.
spoken to agency owners. I've spoken to very high up people at certain IMOs, and like I've heard people say stuff like, I'm not going to repeat like some of the slurry
It's
things,
brutal.
but they've said my agents won't write business in downtown anywhere.
Yep.
My agents, we don't go to this neighborhood or that neighborhood, or they'll say that I've spoken to some people who are like, I used to be in the industry and I got out because they didn't realize it, but they were being taught to lie
Yep.
to underprivileged people to sell policies. Like
Yep.
there's some people out there right now in some cities that some inner cities that
Yeah.
think that their family's going to get $1 million, but it was a $10,000 policy the whole time.
With a like $900,000 rider.
Yeah,
Uh, what is it called? Accidental.
accidental. Yep, yep.
Accidental.
I've seen
Accidental.
that too.
Yep.
I've seen agency owners teach agents to call accidental riders different things in
Yep.
order to make it seem like the client had more insurance. And
Yep.
so then like a client would think they had $200,000 of coverage, which was technically true, but it was 150, it was like 180,000 or
Yep.
$150,000 of accidental. And then you got like $20,000 of term or $20,000 a whole life.
Yep.
And the person dies of a heart attack, their family's thinking they're gonna get 200,000 and they get 20.
Yep.
It's crazy. So
Charlotte. I had a guy. I was in Charlotte. He was a door knocker. Basically, it was back in like 2020. I want to say it was like 2021.
mhm,
I initially like when I first got my license, I went out with him like on a door knocking trip,
mhm.
and excuse me, it wasn't even a door knocking trip. We were just picking up premiums. They only dealt in cash. The
Oh
wildest
gosh.
thing, the wildest thing was watching this man go into people's houses and seeing him sit down on the couch And these people had whole life policies that had been in place since the 70s, and they had borrowed 35, 4500 dollars out of the policy, and they're serving knots back. Money. I'm talking about money, money. Like by the time we got done with it, I was glad I was concealed carry because we had over 30 G's in a day's rotation. And I'm like, this is I asked him, I was like, these rates that y'all have, I was like, how is this possible? And he was like, these people won't talk to anybody but send anybody that knocks on their door. And I was like,
That's
okay,
true.
do a quote for me. So back then I was 30 years old. I remember it. It was a 30-year term. It was a 30-year term for $300,000 for me at 30 years old would have been close to $287 a month with these people. It
Mm.
was insane. He was like, yeah, it's really competitive in the market. I'm like, no, it's not.
Who are you competing with?
Right, 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 right. And I realized he wasn't competing with anybody because there was nobody that would service these communities. And these were honest people that really needed help, that had hearts of gold. Like these people were inviting him in. We were sitting down. We'd have cookies at one place. We'd have lunch at another place. The best people in the world. And
Mm.
they were doing things like that. So that's what really got me riled up. It was like, okay, I'm going to do something about this. And that's where my content came out.
And you know what? I think it's a very powerful thing to say to people like, and you've heard me say this to agents before. If you don't service people, somebody else will. And that
Yep.
somebody else is probably a bad actor. They're probably
Yep.
not a good person, or they're probably trained. Maybe they have one carrier, or they're a captive agent who has an
Yep.
overpriced product. And the agent, and sometimes the agents don't know. If you've only worked for one company your entire career, there's
Yep.
nothing wrong with that. But if it's captive and you're being told, especially if it's captive, because I started captive, you're going to be told that this is the best company. They're the most moral. They're the most ethic. You can make the
Yep.
most wealth here. Anyone outside of the company is gotta be Satan,
They're
and
crazy.
yeah, or they're out of their mind, or they just don't get it. And so you go out there spreading what you think is this true righteous product, but
Yep.
for real, like you are hurting
Yeah.
families.
Oh, I got one on my desk right now. I'm trying to figure out, do I want to break into the space of calling out agents? It's an agent. This person wrote this policy years ago,
Hmm.
and they sold this lady's husband they didn't sell it to him. How do I say this? Because they don't offer whole life or final expense or anything in the sense of extended underwriting, they offer this man a Roth IRA in the
No,
position of a term policy because he couldn't qualify for a term with them. So the wife got a term, he got nothing, and I got it all. I got the text messages, I got the phone number, I got the conversation, the recorded Zoom, everything. And I'm like, do I do it or do I not? And it's like that is the scary part about the industry is that somebody, because they can't offer final experience or because they can't offer something that is out the standard of underwriting, they don't offer a solution at all. They just say, hey, take this
yep.
and go because they don't
And
want to sell.
yeah, and it's so it's so crazy because I've been in that position where there's a certain point when you are a captive agent, if you are serious and you're moving, where you will see. So at first it's like, oh, these people just are trying to dissuade me. My upline told me that they'd say this, and you're just ignoring it. But there's always a point where you get to a client,
Yeah.
or you get to a point. I don't know. There's this little place where you're like, I can sell this person insurance.
Yeah.
I don't think what I have to offer is the right fit for them, but I don't have anything else to offer, and
Yeah.
I need a check. And so you're kind of like, the choice that ends up getting made is like, as a captive agent, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, having some insurance is better than having no insurance, even though this may not be the best fit for them. I can't
Yeah.
offer them anything else, and I don't know anyone else who offers anything else, or all this other stuff that could be offered is a scam. So I'm not going to offer the scam. Let me go get this person a whole life, or let me go offer this person a term when it probably didn't fit them.
Right.
And and or it's outside of their price range, and you know this person is going to be choosing between this insurance premium or this or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've been there as a captive agent. I've had to walk away from sales and try to find people agents that didn't offer what I offered. And
Yeah.
it's awful. It is awful. So to those people, again, like captive, there's nothing wrong with being a captive agent. There's pros and cons to it. But
Yeah.
I just encourage anyone watching this, if you are a captive agent and you've had that moment where you're like, man, this person has diabetic neuropathy and I can't offer them anything. Well, it's better to have nothing. No, understand that you can help this person, especially if they need life insurance. You just
Yeah.
can't do it with your company. So you can refer it to someone like Geoffrey, or you can try to go independent, but
Yeah. And I'll break.
don't.
I'll break. I'll give them a break in the sense that they're trying their best.
Hmm.
They're
Hmm.
trying. They're trying, and I get it. I get it. Insurance sales ain't easy. It ain't
It's
easy.
not.
It's the people don't understand that.
It's not. But okay, all right. I only got a handful of questions left for you. So
All right.
if you were speaking to a room of 50-year-old insurance veterans who say TikTok is for dancing kids, what is your message to them about the future of the industry?
Your future ended with the last iOS update. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. That could be the thumbnail. Like I'm being real. Like it's up. Like that new update where that phone ring and then you hear that little and it
Yeah.
says state while you're calling. That them
Gosh,
leads
that's
is
so
done, buddy.
beautiful.
Like I don't
Yeah.
know what you're going. I don't know what you're going to do outside of that,
Yep.
and that is a area of pain for a lot of agents. It you need to evolve.
Yeah.
You need to grow. You need to call me, but
Straight up.
you need to grow. You need to grow. It's time for you to look at the other position for lead generation, what it can possibly mean for you, and what personal brand will do. Personal
Yep.
brand is now an effective place across all industries. So
Yep.
I would say that you really need to look into that because we are going to be the ones. Matter of fact, this is making me like this is reinvigorating me to really get out there and create content again. Is you we are the next evolution of what's going to happen in society. It's
Yep.
going to be really hard to get the lead progression that we had previously with the flyers and everything else because people
Yep.
got hip to it. So
Yep.
now we need to evolve.
So let me ask you this. If you had to start over today with 0 followers and no
Ooh,
license, but you kept all of your knowledge,
yes.
what is the exact step one, step two, step three that you would take in your first 30 days? No
Without
followers, no
license?
license. No license, no
Ooh,
followers, but you got all your
no li-
knowledge.
Ooh. First thing I'm doing, no license, no followers, is I'm probably going to go online. I'm going to pick up a couple different things. Uh,
Mhm.
First thing I'm going to pick up is let's see here. First thing I'm picking up is my life and health license. All right, I'm going to follow the time of the year. Right now, I'm smelling it out. It's health insurance time. It's health insurance time. So I'm rotating on health insurance content. I'm also leaning into the aspect of what's happened financially. Like we're about to start printing money again. So they dropped the I want to say they dropped the interest rates another like 2 points, and they're expecting like another 2 or 3 points to come off. I was get
Mhm.
very connected with what's going on in the financial position and learn how to develop content on what's going on with the economy, what the average cost like. Oh, I'm not gonna give all myself. I'm
Don't give it
not good.
all up. Don't give it all up.
I'm not gonna
You
give it
gotta
all
hold
up, but
something back. Hold something
I would
back.
definitely develop series. I would definitely develop series. I would get my health, my health, my life. I would definitely be a broker over captive for the general position that when you're doing leads as vastly different as you can get in social media, because I've got people all the way from Hawaii all the way to Cambodia. No BS. I've had people from other countries get in contact with me. I've had people from Seattle all the way to Maine back across. In that, I need a long to take advantage of this. I need
Mhm.
a large area of opportunity for me to be able to underwrite. So that's why I would pick the broker side more than anything. I would probably go get my mortgage license just to be able to play around in the real estate area a little bit more. And I would start there. I would start doing 3 to 5 videos a day continuously. I would hop on live. I would develop a live show. That's one of the things that I don't think people are really doing. Like, people are
Hmm.
going live on a topic. They're not viewable in the sense of, I tuned in every, what was it? When did new episodes of Martin come out? I want to say it was like,
I thought it was like 8 o'clock on Fridays or Thursdays or something like. I don't
right. I
remember the
want to say it
day.
was Thursday. Thursday, 8 o'clock. I was there. I loved Rugrats as a kid. 7:30. Did nobody have control over the TV but me? 7:30, like 6:30 to 7:30, it's a wrap. You can forget it. After the Rugrats go off, we fine. But I want to be Rugrats. I want to be the I honestly want to be something that's repetitive and continuous. Like, I don't want to be on erratic and things like that. Erratically, I want to have scheduled times where people can expect me to be there. It's a weird thing, as much spontaneous, or as much as the algorithm says that people like chaos. When you get consistent, you get very dangerous in all areas.
That's true. Consistency is king. All right. Couple more questions for you. So you've built a brand,
Yes.
not just a book of business. What's the end game for the Don of Finance, for Jeffrey Vaughn, Jeffrey VA? Is it an agency? Is it a media company? Or is it the biggest policy writer in the game? What's the end game?
I would say, honestly, if I this is something that I've had to come to grips with as of recently. I've had medical issues that have made me reevaluate life altogether. And in that, I'm kind of like, not at an in-game position, but I'm like, okay, like, what do you want to have and what do you want to possibly leave? And
Mhm.
in that place, I'm looking at wanting to build what is the strongest agency ever. Like, I really want to become a media house for insurance agents, but also I want to become one of the strongest insurance producers across the entire. I wanted to start off with the East Coast, but I'm seeing how fast this thing can evolve. I want to have one of the strongest agencies, if it's not the strongest agency in the United States. That's really what I want
Nice.
to be.
All right. So just a couple of random questions. What
Okay.
is the meanest or funniest comment you've ever received that actually made you laugh out loud?
Oh, so when I have my hair up in a really tight bun, people call me Yakuza, or they'll say that I look like somebody from the mafia or something like that. So those are pretty funny. I would say one of the biggest one of the one of the harshest comments I ever got actually ended up turning into a video that got over 120,000 views just by pointing at the comment. Basically, the guy said, like, the video that it came off of was me saying that I'm going to change my community with generational wealth. I'm going to help people. I'm going to help people keep their homes and all this other stuff. And basically, the guy said, "You have less than 4,500 followers. You ain't going to do trash." And like, and all this other stuff. And it was crazy to see people. I think that's one of the first comments I saw you like talk trash to somebody, was like, people went back and like, it got to the point where he reached out to me like, "Hey, look, can you like remove that video because people are giving me so much flack about it?" And I'm like, "No, I can't. You said it.
Nah.
Yeah, you did that. I didn't say anything to you. I was over here being positive, and then you just decided to come over here and tell me that I'm trash, and then I ain't gonna be nothing, and everything else." And so, if people disagree with you, they disagree with you. So I think that's one of the, I think that's one of the best. Like, I felt, I felt happy after that, because it was like people supporting me. Like, people were actually like, okay, like, it gave me more fire. It was like, okay, so people really
Mhm.
do back me up.
Nice. All right. So without giving the exact amount, what is the biggest single commission check you've gotten from a lead that or a person that came from a 60-second video?
I want to say that, like, biggest single policy,
Yep.
8,600. 8,600 was the biggest one. And that, now the wildest thing that was ever put into play is I almost sold a private jet over over TikTok. It was insane. It was wild. It was wild. It was wild. Yeah, yeah. It was about. I live down the street from a private airport. And so there's a place there, like they sell planes and stuff like that. So one night I'm driving, I go to the place, I see the plane there, and I go in there and I talk to the people because they're cool. And the plane was in there, and I was like, "Oh, that's a nice one. How much is that one?" And they were like, "This was like 60 million." I was like, "Okay." So I took a picture of it real quick, got back in the
Mhm.
car, went home, was talking to one of my clients. I have some pretty hefty clients. Was talking to one of my clients. He was like, "Yeah, man, I'm looking for somewhere to put some cash. If you have any possible investments or anything like that, let me know." I'm like, I got a private jet for a decent price. He was like, "How much?" And I was like, 60 million. He was like, "You serious?" And I was like, "Yeah." I sent him the pictures and they started working the deal on it. And it was like, that was one of the wildest ones that ever happened, was like that. It,
I would have needed a cut. Can I get
that
10%?
it was for a cut. I wanted 10%. I wanted it was like 10% at start. At the end, it was like 2%, but it was still a hefty check at 2%. And it was like they were going through the
2% of 60
negotiations.
million is not bad.
It's a
It's not a
light,
bad
yeah.
day.
I was asking for 10 at first, and they looked at me like I was crazy. They were like, "Hold on, like let's actually talk about this. Like, you did find this person for us." And it was cool and everything, but it ended up falling through. But that the prospect of that being there was definitely one of the coolest ones ever.
Man, I swear it's so crazy how it's so crazy how many things any of us are capable of
Yeah,
just by taking one small
trying.
step, just
That's
by
it.
trying. Just a random conversation could change your
Yeah.
entire life. So, but to wrap up, where can people find you? What are your handles? Where can people find you? How do they reach Geoffrey?
So you can reach out to me, the Donna Finance on TikTok, or Geoffrey Vaughn on TikTok. It's spelled Geoffrey Vaughn. On Instagram, I'm the Don Vaughn, DonVaughn. I might have an underscore in there. But those are the two main ways. And if you need to find me, Julianne can find me within 5 seconds. Anytime, any
Easily.
place, any day. He can find me anywhere. Yeah, I would definitely say those are the ways that to reach out to me.
Perfect. Anybody you want to shout out? Anything you want to say before we wrap?
I honestly want to shout you out. Honestly, you have been
You ain't
you have
gotta
been a
shout me
guiding
out,
light
bro.
in my entire career. You've helped me since the position of being overwhelmed with insurance leads, all the way to the point of really being a life mentor. So I do appreciate you in those aspects, because in this industry, you need somebody to guide you. If you don't, you will fail. Like, because you can very easily find yourself on a high or on a low. And either one of those can take you out of the industry very quickly if you don't know how to manage it. So you need somebody that's been there, that's seen it, that's really walked the walk. And that's something that a lot of people that are uplines, or a lot of people that say they have your best interests at heart, don't really have. And I do appreciate you for being that person. Literally, not even like, "Oh, well, like this is that." Like, no, he has done a lot for me in the aspect of making sure that I didn't walk off the cliff, in the sense of a agent, or in the sense of really searching for deals and things like that, just trying to keep up the business in general. So I appreciate you.
I promise y'all I did not pay him to say that.
He
I thought
did.
he was gonna say hi, mom. I thought he was
Oh
gonna
yeah,
say
how
something to
about
his late. I don't know, but okay. So at any rate, like, comment, subscribe, follow, reach out to Geoffrey. He's a really, really nice guy. He's an incredible producer. And until then, till next time,
peace?
don't blame the leads.